welcome to another episode of the Trailblazers Experience podcast. And today we are delving into the world of DJing. I have my amazing guest here who's known on the gram and in the circle as Latsthedj, but she's also known to everybody else as Latunde. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm really excited about this conversation because the whole idea of the podcast is to demystify and debunk what you can be and what success looks like, especially as a woman. So, really just delving in. Can you tell me a bit about your journey into the world of DJing? Like, what initially inspired that career?
Yeah, great question. I'd say I've always been that music person. Like growing up, my household, my mom loved music, my dad loved music, so I've always been a music person. And if I remember correctly, it was from the time when iPod was a thing. I was always that person that always like made playlists for people. Like I just always had all the songs. So I think that was the beginning of my journey. I didn't realize that then. And I remember it was first year in college. They were doing this little learn how to DJ course thing. So I just thought, let me just learn. It's just something that I just thought, why not? And then I remember at the end of the course, you had to like do a set where you invite your friends and family. And I did that. And I realized that I was really good at DJing. And then from there, I just done it as a hobby, just something to do on the side. So that was kind of how I started.
That's so interesting. And when you were doing that project, did it then dawn on you that actually this could be something I could do as a hobby or actually as a profession?
I never ever thought I'd do it as a profession because I was studying to be a psychologist at the time. So DJing was literally just something I did on the side, just a little escape from just life, I guess, just play music. So that was what it was, yeah.
So let's pull it back because you're of Nigerian heritage, and I can imagine I'm of Zambian heritage. I can imagine my parents looking at me saying, "This DJ thing, what's going on?" Did you finish studying your psychology degree and start working doing something else, or was it something that you dropped and said, "Hey, I'm breaking into this career, this industry"? How did that work out? How did that start?
I actually finished my psychology. I even did my master's as well. I went ahead to do masters. I actually wanted to get into project management at one point. So I was still a bit confused. I think everyone goes through that stage where you're like, what am I doing? But the only thing that was consistent in my life then was DJing. At first, I'm not going to lie, my parents did question me like, this DJing thing, what is it? Like, are you sure this income is going to sustain you? I'm not going to lie, I had doubts as well because I was like, I've spent so much time and energy into studying. How am I going to like just switch into DJing? But I wasn't getting the job that I wanted, and DJing was just what was paying me at the time. So I kind of just gravitated towards it, and I think I was really good as well. So that just helped me.
That's so interesting, and it's good that you've touched on it. So everyone out there, she actually did finish uni, finish university. Sort of need to have your plan B. Whereas for some people, they actually say, I just have my plan A and that's all I'm going to focus on. So actually to hear that side of the story where you're like, you were still oohing and eyeing about, is this right for me? But also breaking into the music industry, DJ industry is hard. It's not easy. When did your big break sort of come up, where you said, actually, I could earn an income from this. This is something that I also love. When did that happen for you?
Um, I can't remember exactly when it was, but it was mainly the time when I was literally getting bookings back to back. It was just before the pandemic. Like it was nonstop. There's a lot of traveling as well. And I really wanted to travel, but I couldn't afford to travel just as a holiday. And then DJing was paying me to travel. On top of that, I was getting paid to travel. So I was like, this life just makes sense. So it was around that period. And then after the pandemic, I was able to form a relationship with where I DJ right now, my current residency, which is at Stoke. And it was something that I did every week, back to back to back. And it was just a steady income. So every month, I know this is what I'm getting paid. So it was able to sustain me. So I think that was literally my big break. My residency was literally what made me feel like this is sustainable.
That's really interesting. I mean, kudos to you because securing a residency is not easy. but it feels you resonate with the people out there in terms of your sound and your vibe. So I would encourage everyone to check her out for sure. Talk to me about some challenges that you may have faced, because it's not easy to be a woman in general, but even a woman in the industry. Talk to me about some challenges that you've faced and maybe some achievements that you're proud of.
Yeah. I think one of my challenges is before I actually became consistent at DJing, I was an introvert. I still call myself an introvert. I didn't really like being out with so many people, which is a bit weird considering I'm a DJ. So I kind of struggled a little bit with just networking with people. I just always stayed in my bubble. And I started to realize that this is not getting me what I wanted. So I kind of had to learn to just be confident and just be able to be a little bit more outspoken. And also with the being a woman as well, the times when I go out to DJ and they kind of, you see some security, like, you're not allowed to go there. I'm like, but I'm the DJ. And like, are you sure? And they let me go through. Or maybe a DJ is DJing, you go there to say hello, they'll be treating you like you're a groupie, like steppers. I'm like, I am DJing, like, what are you doing? So I think it kind of got a little bit of getting used to. Now I just get there so confidently, like, hey, I'm a DJ. I don't really wait for them to put me in a position. So I go there letting them know this is where I am and this is who I am. So I kind of had to learn to just break out my shell and be a little bit more in this life. You just have to be confident, literally go out there and be confident. So I learned the hard way, I would say, to just be confident. So I've said that was definitely a challenge, and in a way it's a blessing, because now I don't really doubt myself. I just know it's just about how you show up, and that's how people see you and treat you. So I see that as a learning
And
curve.
basically just owning the room, isn't it? Like you said. So
Literally,
this is you owning the room.
yeah. Yeah, I had to learn that. DJ had to teach me that. So yeah, it was really, it's a nice way to just grow, I guess, just getting out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, I mean, you've touched on a point which we all sort of deal with. I've interviewed so many women, and that's one of the things that's interesting, regardless of which career or sector. The fact that you weren't acknowledged as the person, the main woman in that room.
Yeah,
They're thinking you're part of the entourage or the help, or somebody who's there. So
literally.
yeah, you just dust it off and just say, "Look, I'm here. I'm the main event, and this is what we're going to do."
Exactly, exactly. It's a beautiful thing in a way, because I saw other women do it. I'm like, how does she do it? And I just had to just focus. I'm like, this is what I want to be known as. I don't want to be seen as this timid girl that doesn't know what she's doing. So I kind of just had to learn as I grow. And yeah, I really like where I am right now in terms of that.
Let's talk about the technology aspect, because obviously being a DJ, it's either you're a pure vinyl or you're on your Serato, but still you have to have, the equipment, the style, preparing a set, all of it. How did you, and we can talk about your e-commerce business as well, because I feel like there's sort of a link of you with tech, music, and then e-com. How do you learn and, embrace that as well as a DJ?
Is constantly learning, because when I'm really glad you've done your research in terms of vinyl and Serato. When I started learning, I learned with Tractor, and I would say with Tractor, the person that taught me, it was more of a dance DJ, so I think that's what's more predominant than Tractor. And I realized that whenever I went to DJ out there in scenes that are like more black, like in terms of like Afrobeat or like hip hop and R&B, they mainly use Serato. So in a way, I learned how to use Serato myself. I went on YouTube. So, but once you learn the basics, I feel like learning how to DJ, the basics is kind of easy. You can learn that within a week. So once I learned the basics, I kind of went on YouTube to know how to like incorporate what I've learned on Tractor and Serato. So a lot of practice. And I would definitely do recommend that if you're trying to DJ, you definitely have to invest in a hardware, something you can use to practice, because you can learn so much online and, the technical aspect, but you literally have to practice every day. And that's literally what's helped me. And it doesn't end there. There's always new technology, new stuff, and you just have to just keep up with it. There are times when I've gone out and I realized that my laptop software is outdated and I couldn't DJ. Like, it's happening. It still happens to you today. But you just have to just keep up and just have backup sometimes. Sometimes people have like backup hardware in their car just in case it doesn't work. depends now. I'll determine throughout, but definitely you have to keep learning. Go on YouTube, follow DJs, follow like technology people, follow Serato because that's what I use, and see what's. It's kind of like Apple Music and Apple. Just wherever is the latest thing, make sure you're keeping up with it. Is constantly learning, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. I think, that's the thing, because if you want to be successful as a DJ and have a residency and be on top of your game, you need to immerse yourself in the technology. And then I guess you also prepare your sets. You're finding out what is your style and musical preference as well. Have you stuck to one genre, or do you move around the genres as well?
I definitely move around because of my residency is a pan-African restaurant and we strictly play African music. So because of that, I'm on top with African music. It's just because I have to do it every week. But when I go out there in like Nigeria, which is my hometown, which I do go there to DJ sometimes because everybody's playing AfroBeats, so I don't really stand out as much. So then, and I incorporate UK style music because you just have to stand out. You can't play what every other DJ is playing. So in London, I'll definitely say Afrobeats, Afro house, Amapiano, very popular right now. That's like my style. But when I'm outside of UK, I try to bring UK sound and mix it up with the African music outside of UK. So yeah, I mix dabble between genres.
It's keeping up with that's up and coming, isn't it? Because like you need to indulge the existing customer base that's coming every week to see you, but also the newbies
Yes.
as well. Let's talk about your other business. So you talked to me that you're in e-commerce. Talk to me a bit about that and what you're doing at the moment.
Okay, so my e-commerce, that's like my little baby. I started e-commerce business during the pandemic when I wasn't getting DJ bookings. And it's something I've always wanted to do. One thing I knew that I always wanted to have my business, and I kind of started it as something that I struggled with. I'm a woman with a fuller bust, and I'm not exactly a fuller size, if that makes sense. So it's like I've got a relatively small frame and I've got a big bust, and I struggle to find bikinis whenever I go on holiday, especially when I'm like DJing. So I just always feel self-conscious. I always wear like shirts on top of like my bikini. So I thought this is something I wanted to get into. So I kind of started to design. I put it out there. I learned everything literally on YouTube, I would say. And so far it's going okay. I've taken a step back from it now because I can't do all at once, but this is definitely something that I'm doing for the long term, and it's a bikini business, which I sell bikinis to women with fuller bust.
So you found a problem, and basically starting a business is looking at a problem that you had
Yeah,
and, finding a solution for it. And as part of the bigger bus crew, definitely understand that dilemma where you do want to look put together and not look like you're wearing something that's too small for you as
exactly.
well. So it's in the early stages, would you say, your business, or ticking along?
Definitely early stage. I've learned so much. I think that's why I realized that I have to take a step back now because I've learned how much energy, how much marketing is to go into it. And I realized that I'm not there mentally, but eventually I'm definitely going to put a lot of energy into it. But right now it's early stage, and the feedback, considering the amount of energy I've put into it, has been really positive. It's just overwhelming. I'm not going to lie. Just having to do the customer service, the design, which was a lot. I didn't think it was going to be this much. So I just thought it's something I definitely need maybe someone like an assistant or something to be able to push. So right now, I just wanted to just take a step back until I definitely have the time, which I don't have at the moment. But
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
So it sounds like you have an entrepreneurial spirit. Your DJing is paying the bills. You're doing well for yourself, which is great. My question to you is, what skills do you think you have brought on from you doing your psychology degree, your masters, that are helping you navigate you being a DJ as a business? Because technically it is a business, but it is a passion. What skills are helping you navigate that?
Um, I've actually never thought of this before, but I would definitely say with psychology, it's definitely helped me in terms of just being able to relate to people, which is definitely a big deal in the sense that even being able to converse with people, having to, like, for example, now with my e-commerce business, knowing the right language, knowing people have pain points, knowing they have a problem, and being able to like identify what their problem is kind of psychological based. Like when you think about it, because as a woman, I struggle with, just finding the right bikini. And I wouldn't just, before that, I didn't realize I just used to buy wherever I saw. But now, using my psychology background, I understand that this is a problem and you have to just make it clear to people like, this is this problem and then there's a solution. And that's why you have to like, don't just buy from anyone. Buy something that is definitely going to solve your problem. And I would say psychology definitely helped me with that. And also with DJing as well, being able to relate to people, just, I guess, a bit of empathy. When you see someone, being able to connect with them and just, yeah, connecting really. Like you could find someone now that maybe they own a club, for example, and you want to like network with them, and not seeing it as just networking, it's generally just connecting and being likable and just being able to connection. I would say is a lot of psychology. So I've been able to put a bit of that in everything that I do.
Yeah, you're touching on such a important trait. So connections, connecting with people, relationship building, because
Relationship
funny enough, it
building.
is a small industry, it's a small circle. So if you want to get booked, get gigs, so people even remember you, your attitude as well plays a
Yes.
very big role, doesn't it?
Yes, yes, spot on. That's literally it. Being able to build a connection and a relationship building. Yeah, that's it.
Who do you aspire to? So obviously you probably look up to some DJs out there. And who are your role models in the industry? I mean, you
There's
might say I don't have any. It's me. So
I
yourself.
I have a list. There's so many of them. I'm trying to think of one person right now that is definitely doing it for me. Oh, is a bit crazy because I was going to mention a black woman that is definitely killing it in the DJ game, but I'm not going to lie, there isn't a lot of black women. It's mainly men, black men that I know that are killing it right now. Like likes of Spinal is an Afrobeats DJ. He makes music as well, and honestly, his growth is just tremendous. It's amazing to see. So I definitely do look up to Spinal. And there's Peggy Goo. She's a woman. She's Asian. Um, she actually started off as a stylist and designer, kind of like what I do as well. And now she's killing it in the DJ game. She makes music. Like there's this song right now that has gone viral. It's called Na Na Na. Yeah, I definitely aspire to people like that. I feel like being able to just be a woman and producing and yeah, it's just amazing. And she has her own clothing line as well, which I believe is doing really well. So when I see people like that, I know it's possible. Like it's not impossible, doing two things at the same time. So I definitely aspire to be like that. So that's definitely, I say Spinal, Peggy, those two. There's a lot of them, but those two are definitely people that I definitely check up every now and then to, remind me that this is possible.
Yeah, you mentioned that there are not so many women of color. Do you do you have a view on that of why that is, or do you think it's now improving now? It's getting better in terms of the proportion.
It's definitely getting better. I'd say the reason why is probably because Afrobeats, well, my genre, is kind of just upcoming. It's just starting. Like obviously the likes of Whiskey, Davido, they've definitely paved the way. And Amapiano is definitely getting popular now. Like we have the likes of Uncle Waffle. I don't know if you're familiar. She's like an Amapiano DJ.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
she's relatively new, but she's gotten really big because she adds more than just DJing. She puts up a show. She dances. I wish I could dance like that. She dances, so she puts up a show, and now she's literally killing it. Like she was at Coachella. She does like big concerts now. So I think gradually, I can imagine in 5, 6 years time, it's definitely going to be a thing where we're getting black women in this places. But right now, dance is still definitely like one of the biggest genre in terms of like DJing. Like you see arenas with thousands, millions of people, but it's not something that a lot of black people get into. And for you to get there, you need to have, thousands of fans. And slowly we're getting there. Afrobeat is getting there slowly. So I do see it getting bigger as time goes on.
Do you think there's a bit of pressure for yourself as being one of the trailblazers, so up and coming, so leading the way? So in 10 years, they'll be like, remember Latsthedj? She's the one. She did that. She paved the way for me. Do you think there's a bit of pressure for yourself, or do you just keep doing you, being yourself?
I just keep doing me. I'm not gonna lie. I do definitely think I'm one of the first Black Afrobeat DJ to begin that, because there wasn't a lot of us, but now it's become a thing now. And like I said, I'm a pianist now, and it feels like it's a different way of DJing. Like it's not just playing music now; it's about dancing, like just moving your body whilst you DJ, and that is not something that I do. So honestly, I don't put that much pressure on myself. It's just I just want to enjoy it as it goes. And if you vibes with me, you vibes. If you don't, no pressure.
Yeah, yeah. So beyond DJing, because you've talked about it, actually, you've alluded to it. Is this something that you would like to explore? So the other aspects of the producing aspect, maybe managing events. Where do you see this going for you? I guess is the question.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, now I do events, which kind of I stopped doing a little bit because of the pandemic. We couldn't carry on. It's called Lemonade London, but I did do one of them in summer, and I do intend to keep doing it. It's like a day party, so essentially it works in summer because no one really goes out in the day. Excuse me, in winter. So I do plan on bringing that back and making it bigger, and probably have guests artists to come and perform. And in terms of producing, I'm definitely going to dive into that, because essentially the reason why I started this DJing thing is the love for music. And I feel like there's only so much you could do as a DJ. You kind of have to put your own music out there. People need to understand, you know, how you think in terms of the type of music you put out there. DJ is essentially just mixing different people's songs together and making it like a long, it's kind of like a long journey. But when you make your own music, that's it, because that's where the real music lover is. So I do plan to get into producing slowly and steady. Hopefully in the next few years we get a song by Lats.
But there is an art to it. I mean, it's not just pulling songs together, isn't it? You're like underplaying this. It's looking at the BPMs, what are the flows, how's it going to transition, how do you keep people on the dance floor, how do you keep people in the venue, because then they buy more drinks.
Yeah,
There's a lot to think about as as
true.
as well. So even when you're pulling a set together, in your head, have you ever had? I guess that was a question I was going to ask. Have you ever pulled a set together, then started playing, and then realized, okay, the crowd isn't feeding it? If you got like a plan B to switch it up.
Oh yeah, all the time, all the time. There are times when I already had a set that this is set, I'm gonna go and kill it, and then you get there, and then the DJ before you has practically played like 80% of the songs you want to play. You're like, oh, I'm not gonna come and sound the same thing. So you have to think, what can I do that is different? Like switch it up. That happens a lot in Lagos. Whenever I DJ in Lagos, like I said, those DJs out there are insane. The way they just mix the songs together. They could just play every songs that you add in your playlist. They just play for like 2 seconds, almost like this is nothing. And then you come there like, I practiced for this set. So you just have to like find a way to switch it up. So that definitely happens a lot. So I've learned to have backup,
Thinking on your feet, isn't it?
literally. And sometimes you even play music and then people are not feeling it the way you want. So you have to just find a way to just switch it up. You have to be so quick and you have to read the crowd, like you said, because if not, they just say you're boring. And that's not a nice way to describe a DJ.
So I'm sure the audience wants to know. So this is a career for you. This is how you pay your bills, your mortgage, if you have one, etc. Is there a difference in between the gigs that you book internationally in terms of compensation? Is it more lucrative for you to travel and DJ? Because you've alluded to it a few times. Or is it the gigs that you get here are actually the ones that are better off for you?
From my experience, I'm not gonna lie, UK is the least compensated in terms of like DJing. Whenever I go abroad, it's almost like they value you a bit more. I think it's that international that comes with your name. Oh yeah, it's this DJ that's come from abroad, so you get a lot more compensated. Especially like I went to New York recently, and I mean I actually just went there for my friend's fashion event just to support, and I ended up getting booked to DJ. And the compensation, I was quite shocked and impressed. Like I was like, UK wouldn't just give me this. Yeah, so I definitely think the international makes you stand out a lot more. So if you're a DJ and you're trying to like stand out, leave your own country, go somewhere else. They definitely value you more.
Has that made you think differently about the gigs and that you're going to plan for next year in terms of, okay, I'm going to do this percentage here in the UK, this percentage
Yes.
Globally? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I do plan to spend a lot more time outside of UK. Even like December, I'm definitely going to be in Lagos. This is 30 December craze, so I don't miss it. It's definitely a good time to be away. Even in Ghana, like December, January is a very hot time for DJs. And UK, I think Europe in general is good in summer. So there's like the seasonal times where there's different places you should be if you want to be like in the conversation as a DJ. You can't just stick to one place. You have to move around based on, the seasons and the type of genre you play as well. So I definitely do plan to spend a lot more time outside of UK. UK is definitely going to be home. This is home. But yeah, I'm not just going to sit here. I can't. It's not me.
So you've definitely heard it here first in terms of where she's going to be in December. It's 30 December. So
30 December.
for those who are traveling, I think it's important because you're thinking about it, isn't it, from a commercial perspective as well? Is, where's my value? Where's my worth? How am I going to navigate in this industry? So let's talk about that. Let's talk about what are your core values and ethics that guide you as a businesswoman, as a DJ?
One of them is definitely integrity. I feel like in this industry, there's just so many wishy-washiness that goes on. People say something, they don't do it. And it's put me off from working with a lot of people. It happens. But one thing I just want to be known as is that person that when I say I'll do something, I'll do it. I do it on time. I don't like to waste people's time, especially when you do book me, you're getting value. Like you want to book me again. I like to work in terms of integrity is definitely a thing for me, absolutely. And just honesty as well. Like there's no need to like pretend to be something you're not. Because there's so many trends that goes on. This is what you do. Like for example, now the old dancing DJ thing that's becoming a trend. I can't dance. So I'm not gonna just like force that old dancing and just because that's what's trending. I just want people to know me for my crafts, and which is like I definitely produce good sets and like create a good experience, and that's literally what I stand by. I try not to like just dabble too much in terms of like what's trending, and I just stick to just being a honest person. And yeah, I think that's what's brought me this far, and I intend to stay that way.
Those are really good values to have. And like what you've said is you have to stay true to you. You need to remember what actually brought you in the limelight, what's actually brought you the success to date. And you're right, you can't get lost in the trends of what's going on. Obviously, staying abreast of what's happening in terms of music, but you have to be authentically yourself, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think that's a very good tip to pull out there. You've talked about networking. How important is that in the industry? And if you were to give some advice to someone who's up and coming as a DJ, especially women, how should they navigate the networking and trying to get that foot in the door that leads to another gig, another step, potentially a residency? How would you say they should navigate that?
Networking is definitely everything. Is everything. I feel like I could do better with my networking, but my introvert side kind of just pulls me away. Networking is a big deal. My residency right now was through networking. Everything that I've achieved with DJing is absolutely networking. At first, if you're just starting, I'll definitely say you definitely want to be a good DJ. Don't be a crap DJ. Make sure you practice very well, but don't just get too comfortable in your bedroom. Go out. If you have to DJ for free, because I had to do a lot of free gigs initially, just so people know who I am. Go out, do a lot of free stuff. But again, integrity. You don't want to be that person that, you say you do something and then last minute you're changing your mind. It's not a good look. You definitely want to stick by what you say you're doing.
Show up.
Literally show up. Have a good set. Very important, because you could have all of this. And on top of that, you want to network, literally like talk to people. I wish I could do more of that. Well, Lord knows I'm trying my best. This is a work in progress. Definitely talk to people. And I would say if you could pull up a show, because I had to start doing events, which I think kind of put me out there, which I mentioned Lemonade London. I did that. It made me book DJs. So once you work with other DJs, you book them. When they do their own thing as well, they want to book you. And from there, you're kind of just, broadening people that are coming to see you and know who you are. If you could do stuff like radio, I did that very briefly as well. Do it. Just put your name out there as much as possible. You want to get your name out there. Network. I can't emphasize that enough. Networking is good, but don't get too lost. Yeah, but definitely do network.
So there's a lot about, putting yourself in the scene, because you're saying network. So it's whether it's festivals, events, the Soho houses. So going to the places where DJs move and shake and, interact, I think feels like that's a big thing, isn't it?
Yeah, not just DJs, even like decision makers in the music industries as well. Sometimes you could even network with even like PR people in the scene. And like I said, don't get too lost, because there are times when I go out and I try to network and I just don't get the reception that I want. And I used to be like, oh my God, is it me? Am I not cool enough? But I started to realize that it's not always you. Sometimes you could only try your best and just leave the rest. Sometimes you might network with someone, you don't realize what you guys have, shared. And then like 2-3 months after, they might reach out to you that, oh yeah, I met you in blah, 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 play. Would you like to DJ? Yeah. And you don't realize that it's that little one-two information you shared back in like 2 months ago that is, working for you now. So don't be disheartened if you don't get exactly what you want immediately. It's a long game. It's not always immediate gratification. It takes a while sometimes, but definitely leave your comfort zone if you're trying to, be out there.
Definitely playing the long game is a big one. How important is social? I feel like, Twitch, SoundCloud, uploading your stuff, putting it out there so people can see and build a history is important, isn't it? How have you embraced social media for that? And what were your nervousness or challenges? I know you said you're an introvert, but talk to me about experiences with you and social and how important that's been to you.
Again, apart from the typical going out to network, social media has definitely helped me a lot, especially Instagram, in terms of getting a lot of gigs. I get a lot of people coming to my DMs and trying to like book me, or maybe they saw a video of me DJing somewhere, someone tagged me, and then they send. I mean, that's how we met as well. I mean, you send me a message on Instagram. That was how we were able to like connect. So that happens a lot. I get a booking. Someone booked me for their wedding. She had my SoundCloud, and she was like, "When I get married, you're gonna be my DJ." And then she got engaged like 2 years after, and then she sent me a message. I remember what I told you, and then she booked me, flew me to Italy. So definitely social media, Instagram, SoundCloud. I could do better with my SoundCloud. I'm not gonna lie, I've taken a step back because
We
SoundCloud
need
has
more
its own.
sets from you.
I know. Definitely, you need to put your stuff out there. People need to. That's how you get your fans. People just listening to you and getting drawn to you. So definitely, social media is very, 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 very important, I would say.
You heard it. Get yourself out there. Get out your comfort
Yeah.
zone. I think that's so important. Share with me a memorable moment. So something that's happened to you, whether it's from a fan or you being a fangirl, someone you've met that's, really reinforced what you do. Because, there's the business side, obviously, and you're doing well. You've built a steady career and have, going places. But any memorable moments you'd like to share that really touched you on a personal level?
Trying to think. There's quite a few. I would say one of them was definitely being in Lagos. I've got a lot of memories from Lagos. I can't even think one. But going to DJ in Lagos, like I said, once you come from abroad, they see as an international DJ. They kind of treat you special. I never got that treatment in London. I feel like London, everyone here is kind of just a leveler. Everyone's just hustling, equal. And then in Lagos, I got to meet the likes of like Tiwa Savage. She's very big. Wizkid. We shared the same stage. It made me realize that I have been I've been underestimating myself and my value this whole time just because I'm in London. I just feel like, I'm just this little DJ from London. But when I went out there and I just got to stay in the same room as them and I spoke to them, I mean, I know they're human beings. I mean, but I just saw them as, celebrities. And I got to speak with them and connect with them. And I realized they're just normal people and they kind of just, even Olamide, I remember then Olamide is an Afrobeat singer. It was like really good set. Like when I get celebrities kind of like just tell me like good sets, I'm just like, yeah. So those sort of memories just get me realize that I can do this on a bigger scale if I really, really, really want to. And it just reinforces that to me. Like recently, this actually happened in London. Sorry to just, move away a little bit. I was DJing at Stoke and then Fabulous, the R&B singer, rapper. He came up to me and was like,
when they were here for T Live.
I
Yeah,
think so. Yeah, it was at Stock. Then he came to me and was like,
yeah, yeah.
nice set. I was like, are you fabulous? And he is fabulous. So yeah, that just got me excited. So just little moments like that just reinforces like, yeah, you are not as little as you think you are. Like you're actually a big deal. So those kind of moments just reinforces it for me.
Yeah, but also you're very humble. I think that's also the thing, isn't it? You're generally a humble person, and then you have that light bulb moment saying, "Oh my goodness, I'm surrounded by all these celebrities and who, like you said, are just people, just
Yeah,
like you,
literally,
and they're acknowledging your craft." Yeah.
literally. It's really nice.
Do you know, I think it's very interesting because there's so many stereotypes about what a DJ is, what they should be. Is it a career you can pursue? And there's a lot of graft that goes into it. You've talked about the equipment, you've talked about you did a course, you've talked about the networking. So really, to make it work and make it something that you're doing, you have to invest, whether it's the time, the resource. There's a lot that goes into it as well. And I think it's just demystifying that because people just say, oh, she's just playing music, or she was lucky. Well, no, not really. You've been building a following that's been helping you with that. Do
Yeah.
you find that some people assume that it's easier than it actually is?
Yeah, I can imagine people probably think that. I think that's even I sometimes think that as well because I wouldn't say it's come easy to me, but when I DJ, in my head it feels easy because I've been doing it for such a long time. So when I'm even describing this, I'm like, yeah, all you have to do is just press it, and then someone goes there. I'm like, how can you not play this? It seems so easy, but speaking to you now, I'm realizing that it's actually an art. It's not just something you just go and do. It takes practice, a lot of practice for you to get there. So definitely, I do think people think it's easier than it actually looks. It's not as easy. And thinking about it now, it's not that easy because back in the day, I know how much I struggled. Even to play in front of a big audience, I used to like get so nervous, sweaty palms. I still do kind of, but now it just feels like second nature to me. I just do it.
It's a craft. I was listening to a podcast the other day about so the Heaton brothers, they started Represent, the brand, years ago. So if you've ever seen the brand Represent and how they started it, honestly, from grassroots and printing t-shirts and growing it, building it, they were saying there is no excuse now in today's age for you not to learn the knowledge, the skills for anything that you really want to do. So like you talked about DJing, whether it's a course, whether it's, going on YouTube, understanding the technology that is out there, what kind of DJ do you want to be, what genre, keeping abreast of what's going on. There is no excuse, I think, these days
Yeah, there's
to
so
push
much
forward.
resources out there. Google, YouTube. Oh my God, YouTube is just the best tool out there. And then we've got TikTok now as well, which is people just casually drop in a lot of, information. Everyone just drops a lot of value out there. So definitely the internet is your friend if you're trying to learn anything. Absolutely.
How is AI going to play a role in your technology? Have you thought about it in DJing? Are you already using some AI tools to make life easier?
No, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't. I use AI for my e-commerce, but not for DJing because I don't know how, but I've seen AI in terms of producing music where they put like Drake's vocal on like maybe Beyonce's beat, and it literally sounds like it's Drake singing Beyonce's song. Like I've seen that happen, and I'm worried about what that's going to be like in the future, where artists don't really have to make their songs anymore; they just use AI. So I do worry for that. But in terms of DJing, I don't know how that's going to work. I haven't seen any AI DJ. I mean, I would love to actually know how that's going to work, because right now I feel like the technology is so far gone. All you have to do is just, I wouldn't say all, but you press play, you can sync another song into, another. Before it was very technical, like back in the vinyl times where you literally have to beat match. Now it's a lot easier. So I'm not sure how AI is going to come into DJing. I'm very curious to know how that's going to work. I haven't used it yet.
Yeah, you sort of think, is it preparing the set for you? Does it understand, look at the history of all the music that you've played before, and then it just comes up with a set and then you're just finessing it?
Prepare your
Or
set.
is it really all about emotion? Like you said, it, the tool can help pull the set together, but when you get to that event and you realize the vibe and the crowd is different, that still needs that human interaction and
Exactly.
intervention, isn't it?
Exactly. So maybe if like a prepaid pre-made set, AI might work. If you're trying to create a set for like SoundCloud, I think AI might work for that. But when it's a live set, you kind of have to connect to the people. I don't know, unless there's like some live AI, which I'm gonna write that down. I definitely want to learn more about that.
I think you should still stay true to you, because the reason why people are booking you is because you've got a vibe of the way you fuse music together.
Yeah.
So that still is so important. I think coming through. Talk about Trailblazer takeaways. What tips and nuggets would you like to share with the audience out there? Just circling back.
The tip I like to
So
share
lessons you've
is
learned, things that you wish you knew when you were starting out in your career, three things that you wish you could tell maybe your younger self.
three things I would definitely wish I could tell my younger self is, first of all, patience, 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 patience. I used to always want like immediate gratification. If I was trying something, it wasn't working, I was always like just shifting, shifting. But you really have to be patient with yourself. Give yourself grace and trust the process. Definitely trust the process. If there's something you want to do, go for it, and don't just run away when it's not working. Like, take your time. It's definitely going to work. If someone told me I'll be DJing full time right now, I wouldn't have believed it, because it just didn't seem it was possible. So definitely patience. And two, I wish I would start reading self-help books earlier. It took me a long time to start reading books about just becoming a better person. There's so many great books out there. There's this book I started to read recently. It's called Start With Why. It's kind of like just asking, why are you starting something, the process? You literally have to have a reason. Like, don't just do something because everyone's doing it. Like, stick to your why and, stay by. So definitely read books. Self-help books has definitely made me who I am right now. It's made me so confident. It made me so sure about myself. I don't doubt myself. Don't get me wrong, self-doubt comes now and then as a human being, but it's not as strong as the confidence I have in myself. And I'm so sure about myself right now. It's such a beautiful place to be in. And thirdly, I wish I had a mentor, starting up. I learned everything myself. And I think that probably took me the long road. And like I said, there wasn't a lot of women I saw doing what I was doing. It was a lot of men. Thinking about it now, I wish I had a woman that I could talk to, because the way men and women move is different, and the way people see you as a man and a woman is different. So I definitely wish I had a mentor. If you could get a mentor, it would save you so much time. Honestly, your career, it would just be a lot more clearer, and you have that reassurance. You don't have to like get lost. You don't have to be like, at the times when I was in a dark place, like, what am I doing? Is this really the life that I want, DJ? And I get insecure, like, people see me, do they think I'm a serious person? Because I had so many self-doubts. But right now, I am so confident in myself. I do have my self-doubts, I can't lie, absolutely. But I'm in a better place in terms of like where I am. And definitely I would say get a mentor, self-help books, and just be patient. 3 takeaway I would definitely give to anyone out there.
You are very mature. You are really mentioning things that we all could really learn from. And the Start With Why is a book that everyone is recommending out there, because sometimes we're so caught up in the day to day and the rush, the treadmill of just getting things done, etc., where you really need to take a step back to say, okay, why am I doing this? What is it bringing me? All those questions will sort of help you hone down on what you should be focused on, because we've only got 24 hours in the day,
Yeah.
So it's where do you put your best foot forward?
Yeah, absolutely. Don't just go with the trend, because the trend is going to die eventually. So definitely have a reason why you're doing what you're doing. So yeah.
And the mentor thing is an important one you've touched on, because you're right. It's not about the mentor telling you what to do, but the mentor being an active listener and helping you navigate and guide through maybe the self-doubt that you're feeling, or aligning certain goals which you could be focusing on. There's so many things, isn't it, that person who's outside looking in could support you with. Do you think you could be
Absolutely.
a mentor yourself? Yeah.
People have actually approached me saying, I'm like, I don't know where to start from. I wouldn't mind. It's something that I would definitely love to help people. I definitely would love to help. Well, even if it's just a girl or two, I wouldn't mind doing that. I just don't know if I'm able to. But I would definitely give a few tips here and there. I always want to just tell people, like, listen, you're not alone. Because sometimes we go through so much and we feel like we're in it alone. Everyone's going through it.
Yeah.
It just shows in different ways, obviously in different, I don't know what stage you're in your life, but we're literally all going through the same doubt, the same questioning, the same, what am I doing in my life? What am I doing? We're all going through it. So sometimes it's definitely nice to have that person that's been through it already before, and you can see their success and just reassure you, like, girl, it's a process. Be calm. It's going to happen.
That's it.
Just literally
That's
just
it. Trust the process. But think
trust the
about it. I
process.
mean, mentoring, even if someone's asked you, it could be a short commitment saying, we'll touch base every 2 months. These are the things we're going to talk about, and it's an hour every 2 months. Because it means, you're not forcing yourself to commit to something that you can't.
Yeah.
And then you start off small, because ultimately the person has to do the work. You're the mentor, they're the mentee, they're the ones who have to do the self-reflection and so on. But yeah, think about it. I think you'd
Yeah,
be
I think
a
it's that
good
little bit
one.
of imposter syndrome as well, which I kind of just struggle with. Well, it's self-awareness. I'm aware, so I'm trying to work on that as well. I just working on the imposter syndrome.
Oh, amazing. Well, thank you so much. This has been very refreshing. I think demystifying a lot of things about Latsthedj, who's killing
Yes.
it and has a long way to go in terms of
Yes.
where we're going to see her in the next few years.
Yes.
So thank you so much for sharing, for being open, for being vulnerable.
Thank
I
you.
hope you enjoyed the conversation.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I feel like most of the things I've spoken about on here is not something I've actually said out loud. I just say it sometimes with my cousin or like just my close friends, or things I just write in my journal. But being able to say out now is kind of just refreshing, is giving me some sort of confidence, knowing that, girl, you're exactly what you say you are, and it's just the process. So definitely thank you so much for having me, and I hope to be able to do this a lot more, where I could actually speak and talk about my journey as much as well. So thank you for being the start of this process for me.
Oh, brilliant. Well, you've heard it here first. So this was the Trailblazers Experience podcast. I would encourage you, tell another woman about the podcast and check out Latsthedj on all socials and her residency. She's definitely worth listening to. Thank you so much.
Thank you.